From the WCTV studios, news with Dinesh Room, pinpoint weather with meteorologist Nate Harrington. This is the Good Morning Show, Weekend Edition.
Straight ahead on the Good Morning Show, the bodies of 3 people involved in a double murder-suicide are back home from the crime lab. Plus, a South Georgia home goes up in flames and investigators suspect arson. These stories and more this Saturday, October 16th, 2010. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dinesh Broom. It's now 8 o'clock. We'll have more on those stories in just a bit, but first, meteorologist Nate Harrington joins us with a look at today's forecast.
Yeah, Dinesh, today a big transition day from nice, cool weather that we saw during the morning time to the evening or the afternoons, where we're going to see nice seasonable weather, right near average for this time of year, nice and dry for you. Big day on the college football gridiron. We've got 2 games in the capital city. Should be picture perfect. We will talk about tiny rain chances later in the forecast, but those are much later. Enjoy the weekend. Should be a great one. Have more on the forecast coming up.
The bodies of the 2 children who were killed this week are back home in Colquitt County. Georgia Bureau of Investigation says the bodies of 15-year-old Quentin Grimsley, 8-year-old Bakari McDougald, and his father, KG McDougald, came back from the crime lab in Atlanta on Thursday. Authorities say they're still waiting on autopsy results to release details on what kind of gun was used and exactly how many bullets were fired. On Monday night, Colquitt authorities believe McDougald and his wife, a school resource officer, were involved in a domestic dispute that turned deadly when McDougald shot the children and then himself. Funeral services have been finalized for Tuesday, October 19th in Moultrie. Fire roars through a South Georgia home, taking everything in its path, and authorities say they suspect arson. Our partners at BainbridgeGA.com were on the scene as this fire destroyed this mobile home on Dow Jones Road in Decatur County. Decatur Fire and Rescue, along with Brinson and Blackjack volunteers, responded to the fire. Investigators say they suspect arson since the mobile home was empty and it did not have any electricity running through it. Authorities say the investigation is ongoing. The Apalachicola Fire Department had to put out a fire of its own just before noon yesterday at Avenue D and 13th Street in Apalachicola. Officials say they think the fire was caused by an electrical unit in the garage. The Apalachicola Fire Department had to call the East Point Fire Department to help control the blaze, and they got it out in about 30 minutes. The fire marshals are still investigating the exact causes of the fire. Everyone was able to make it out safely. Musicians are using their talents to remember a little girl whose life was tragically cut short. A Night with the Chapmans tour will be making a stop at the Thomasville Municipal Auditorium tonight. The Chapmans, a Christian-inspired family and musical group, say they're dedicating the concert to Micaiah King, who was killed in a Cairo car crash last week. The Chapmans also lost a child tragically in an accident in 2008. Tickets for the concert are available online and start at $20. Doors open at 6 p.m. and the concert starts at 7. The Georgia ballot amendment has some Thomas County voters worried about funding for their area. On November 2nd, voters will decide on a measure that would exempt Georgia businesses from paying taxes on inventory, but some say the measure is confusing. The state says the income it stands to lose from the exemption would only affect operations at their level, but voters are concerned that trickle-down funding to the Thomas County School Board could be reduced or taken away altogether.
Well, there's conflicting interpretations of whether it is just the state's millage, the quarter mill, which really would not affect Thomas County.
The Thomas County Tax Appraiser's Office says voters should contact local legislators to have the measure explained to them or vote no if they feel the amendment is too vague. The strife among Florida Democrats is reaching a fever pitch as they decide who to support in the U.S. Senate race. The clock is ticking because early voting begins Monday. Polls show independent Charlie Crist and Democrat Kendrick Meek fighting an uphill battle. Democratic National Committeeman John Osman says if one drops out, the other can beat heavy favorite Marco Rubio.
And one of them is going to have to be the adult and say, I'm going to support the other guy and move on. Otherwise, they're both going to lose come November 2nd, and we're only like 16, 17 days away.
Osman is calling former Democratic Governor and U.S. Senator Bob Graham to broker a deal between the two this weekend. No word yet, though, if the meeting will happen. Students at an area high school are ahead of the class when it comes to testing. The Taylor County High School class of 2010 exceeded the state average score on the ACT college entrance exam, scoring above average in English, reading, and science. This year's scores show an improvement from 2009 scores, and officials say even the number of students taking the test has increased, going from 99 students in 2006 to 120 students in 2010. Well, do you think you have star quality? Then the City of Tallahassee Parks and Rec is looking for you. The city is looking for a fresh face from the community to represent the department in its brand new marketing campaign. The winner will be featured in television and print ads promoting Tallahassee and will make public appearances throughout the year. Applicants must be at least 16 years old and stand out from the crowd.
A person ready and energetic and who's got a lot of energy to promote Tallahassee Parks and Rec and neighborhood affairs to be the new face of our department.
Contestants will have to read a script and answer questions for a panel of judges, including our very own anchor Shonda Knight. The winner will be announced at the Winter Festival on December 4th, and the deadline to apply is November 14th. For more information on how to apply, visit our website, wctv.tv. We're just getting started this morning. Up next, Nate has a complete look at the forecast. But first, here's Elton Gumbel with what's ahead in sports.
Good morning, sports fans. It's time to talk high school football. We'll take you back to the Friday Night Lights, plus we'll preview a big weekend for both FAMU and FSU. Coming up in your Good Morning Sports.